Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about the Dungeons & Dragons competitor Darkspace, which is the science fiction official version of Shadowdark. So Shadowdark is the hottest game on the planet. Right now, if you look at the tabletop role-playing game community, there are three podium competitors, right? Dungeons & Dragons wins by volume. It just sells more than anything else, and it sells in ways that no other tabletop role-playing game in the world sells. But next, silver, that's gold medal, right? But next is Shadowdark, and it is silver. Like, it is the hottest vibe, the hottest momentum, the hottest. People are passionate about it. It's being played at every convention. People love it, right? And Derek White, who I met at EcclesiaCon 2025, at a Baptist church in Palmyra, New Jersey. He ran Darkspace, the science fiction version of Shadowdark. So Shadowdark was made at exactly the right time, right? And actually, Kelsey Dionne just said that that Shadowdark would not have been the success it is without the LGL crisis. So the OGL crisis catapulted Shadowdark into success, right? And made it better, right? So just to be clear, let's all track that. Kelsey Dionne is on record. She said it at GaryCon 2025 that the OGL crisis worked out incredibly well for the hottest game in OSR, right? So people complained at the time, but it was a healthy, useful move for the OSR and forced the OSR to do things on their own, right? To be independent, right? And I actually think like this is exactly what's happening I think the only way to understand this is the analogy of what's happening in Europe right now. So literally every nation in Europe is paying for their own overnight, within a 2-month change, right? For 2 years, every nation in Europe is like, oh, look at Russia. They're arming up. They're probably going to attack a bunch of people. We don't need to worry about that. None of us need to put a single bullet in any of our guns because America's just going to run over here and protect us, right? So for 2 years, every European king and every European queen was like, we don't need to do anything. America's going to take care of this, right? And now Donald Trump is like, you guys can off embargo yourself. We're not going to do anything for you, and you need to put real bullets in your own guns and get your own soldiers, right? And literally every European nation is double, tripling, or 10xing their military right now, right? And being like, oh, we have to defend ourselves against the horror shows in our own region, right? And it's the same thing. Kelsey Dionne was like, oh, I need the OGL. And then when the OGL crisis happened and D&D's like, get off our lawn with your little lemonade stand, she built a restaurant. She built a real restaurant that people are eating at today. And she said, right at GaryCon, she would not have done it if the OGL had remained in place. So the OGL crisis was actually the OGL opportunity, right? And that Dungeons & Dragons 100% did the right thing, and we would not have Shadowdark today if it was not for that change, right? It would be nothing today. Kelsey Dionne you wouldn't know her name today. You would not know her name today without the OGL crisis. That's incredible. All right, so I go to EcclesiaCon 2025, super tiny, I think maybe 150 people, right? Super tiny tabletop role-playing convention. Derek White has flown all the way from Tennessee to this convention to run Darkspace, the game that he just created with Dan Gibson, right? But what really shocked me was I got to talk to him, right? So I got to play in the game he ran, and I got a very nice long talk with him. And the reason why was he had to jet out right after his game, right? So he finished his game, and he's like, I got to go, sorry everybody, as soon as I'm done with this game, I really can't stay and talk. I got to go to the airport, right? Because I got a flight at XY, at 8 p.m., right? And so we get close to the end of the game, and I'm like, hey, just so you're aware, I can give you a ride to the airport, right? And the reason why is, this is Palmyra, New Jersey. I will literally pass the airport. So if it's any help to you, and he's like, that would save me $100, right? And he's right. Ubering from Palmyra, New Jersey, to the Philadelphia airport would definitely cost $100. So I gave him a ride, right? So I got all this time to talk to him, right? And we're talking, and what blew me away was I was like, hey, thanks so much for coming. You made the convention. It was really an honor to play Darkspace, right? And I was like, so I'll see you guys at PAX. I can't wait for PAX Unplugged, right here in Philadelphia to see your game, right? I think you and Than are you'll be able to sell a bunch of copies, right? And he's like, oh no, we won't be at PAX. I'm like, what? Right? He's like, yeah, no, we're not gonna be at PAX. It's extremely expensive. And I'm like, dude, like you flew up to run one game for 150 people, right? And you're not going to PAX. And he's like, the reason I'm here is Wesley Allen. Wesley, and if you don't know, Derek White is the geek preacher. Okay, he's actually the chaplain at GaryCon every year, and I think he's been the chaplain at GaryCon for 20 years, right? And Wesley Allen is a Baptist pastor who is deep into tabletop role-playing games, including Dungeons and Dragons, right? Actually, his main jam right now is Numenera. And so what he's like, I came as a favor to Wesley. And I was like, what? So what just astounded me is just how deeply abominable all this is. Every business decision aligned with Shadowdark is the worst possible business decision, incredibly calculated to make sure that this game does not scale and never reaches the people who should be playing it most. It's arbitrarily kept small, and the business now the people are not stupid. Kelsey Dionne is brilliant. Derek White, Than Gibson, all brilliant men and women, right? But these decisions are outrageously stupid. Like the business decisions connected to Darkspace and Shadowdark are outrageously stupid. I just cannot. And the reason why is I love these games and I want to see them reach. I want to see Shadowdark and Darkspace on the shelves at Target, right? Exactly like Dungeons and Dragons. It is never going to happen with these decisions. Like every possible decision you can make to keep this game small and make sure it never scales, they're doing. And I'm not imagining that. Go listen to the GaryCon 2025. Kelsey Dionne literally says it. She said, we are making decisions that do not scale. And it is working to make the game hot and make it seem exclusive. Almost, it's like that video game that they just don't print enough of and everybody wants it, right? And that's what they're doing. They're keeping it arbitrarily hot and exciting and getting all the vibes. But it's horrible. It is horrible because it means that anybody who wants to buy the book for them and their friend cannot do it. You cannot walk into an FLGS and just buy this thing. I have literally never seen a copy of Shadowdark or Darkspace for sale on any shelf anywhere. And it is shocking. And I'm telling you this because I think the world needs to understand what's happening with Shadowdark and now Darkspace. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider like subscribing and have a fetch millennium.